What's good, everybody? It's your boy Frantz, LeBlanc, and you're tuning in to I Love Jesus Music TV. We got a special guest in the building with us today. He's one of my favorite worship leaders. Now, I know we heard of Bishop Todd Hall. I know we heard of Pastor Mike Todd. I know we heard of Todd Delaney. Yo, but there's another Todd that's getting ready to blow up, yo. It's my friend, my brother, J. Todd. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm so excited to be here, man.
Man, thank you for coming out. It's been a long time coming. There's some exciting things happening for you, man. You got a single that you're getting ready to drop.
Finally.
Dwell, man. Tell us a little bit about that.
Dwell. Oh, man. So it was literally a prayer that I literally asked God, and it became a song. I wasn't originally going to release it. It was literally a voice note in my phone for a very long time, and I worked up enough courage to sing it at my mentor Benita Jones' worship conference in Atlanta, and ever since then it kind of has been spreading.
That's awesome. I want to ask you this, man, because everyone kind of has their different writing process. Mm-hmm. How's your writing process? How did that song come about? Like, where were you when you got that medley? Where were you when you got the lyrics?
I don't really have a writing process. It wasn't until probably a couple of days ago I actually started considering myself a songwriter. I really did not consider myself to be a songwriter. I was just a worship leader. I was home, and it was a time where I was asking a lot of different people if they could write me music, because I wanted to release music. I felt like it was time to. But I was still in a season, is the best way that I can put it.
Gotcha.
And so I would be always humming stuff. I would be always singing words back to myself. This particular day I was home just chilling, cleaning up, and praying and worshiping. And the words literally came out. The words and the melody actually just came out. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, I think sometimes people write things and then they go back and change things. Right. Whatever. The words and the melody literally came out. Dwell here, dwell here. You can move whatever's in your way, whatever took your place. So,
man, the song has been taking off. I was actually at the church when you did the recording. Mm-hmm. How has it been since you releasing it?
So to give even history behind the recording, we can call it now. When I planned to do, it was called Dwell the Gathering, and I had my brother Chandler Moore and my mentor, Benita Jones. I had them come in and worship with me. So originally, I was just going to present this song to see how people felt about it, get a feel of it. We never intended to record. We were going to record just for content.
Hold on.
Put out videos.
So you mean to tell me that wasn't really intentionally for the recording of the song?
Nah, that night was actually to get an awareness about kind of my ministry back in the area.
Right.
And yeah, we did collect the offering because you need money to do these things. So we go collect the offering and do what we needed to do, and not just to collect the offering, but give people an opportunity to sow into the ministry.
Right.
So that night, or prior to that, it was literally, so even to get a little bit more history, I rehearsed with the band twice. Wow. I never got a chance to rehearse with the singers. We all kind of just got there that night.
Okay, let me stop you right here, man. So you never rehearsed. This is crazy, because if you guys were here that night, you would have thought that event was specifically made for his single release.
Nah, so we were just going to record just to have content. That's why I never brought in an engineer. There's a lot of stuff that going forward I'm going to change because, when you're doing a live recording, there's a lot of things that you have to be intentional about.
Right.
But so, yeah, that night was never meant to be a recording. It was just a night of worship, and I was going to document it, videos and stuff like that. Literally, I went back and I listened to what we recorded, and I was just like, okay, this was really, really good. Chandler was on the phone. I was talking to Chandler on the phone. He was just like, yo, you got a moment there,
right?
And basically, you don't want to miss this. And so, between that time and now, I was able to go to Atlanta. We doctored it up, fixed it up, did some work to it, and that's what you'll hear on March 20th. So it's been a journey.
So you started off as a worship leader, right? Mm-hmm. And you're now kind of stepping into that artistry industry. How is it, man, crossing over from worship leader to being an artist?
I'm trying not to cross over, if that makes any sense. I think I'm just trying to maintain or remember what my why is. So I think, as a worship leader, it's okay to brand, produce, and to market what God has given you, but you never lose sight of your why,
Right.
why you're doing it.
That's dope, man. One of the things I love about you, man, you just have this authentic, sincere worship to you. Like, he's led worship at my church plenty of times. And
Plenty of times. Raymond Life, I love y'all. Plenty.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Raymond Life Church. And you will take it straight to the throne. Like, no detours, no two, 3 songs, and then the third one is it. Like, he doesn't even need a band. You don't need singers. You just give him a mic and you in glory. How have you been able to maintain that authentic sound to you?
I think I have. Honestly, I don't have a solution. I don't have any of that. I just really solely trust and depend on God. A lot of people don't know, to this day, before I walk on the stage, I'm nervous. And I literally will ask God, I know I didn't do everything I was supposed to do. But if you just let me get through this tonight, I promise you, after tonight, I'm be all you call me to be. But literally, when you literally yield to His voice and what He wants, not just your conscience, not what you think He wants, and you know, I used to say a lot of times, let's create an atmosphere of worship. And I've kind of strayed away from that statement. I'm not going to say that it's wrong. Just my personal belief is that worship never ends. So for me, I can't literally just, this is just me. This ain't no theology. But for me, as long as I'm walking in worship, my life displays worship. I don't have to create one in that moment.
All right.
And so for me, it's literally just being aware of God's presence.
Right.
That's all around me. So even with leading worship now, it's just like I don't even really lead people. I just make them aware of the presence that's around them. Because some of us, you know, we're just not aware. I believe that there's the awareness and then there's distraction. That thing that comes to distract us from the presence of God that's around us. So even in this time where we're dealing with the coronavirus, God is still God.
Yeah.
But there's a distraction that wants to take away that level of awareness.
Most definitely, man. One of the things I always say is your relationship with God is number one. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in marketing and try to make sure our names get out there that we kind of neglect the spiritual aspect of it. How do you stay balanced? What do you do? What does J. Todd do on a Monday through Friday, Saturday basis? What keeps you balanced? What keeps you grounded?
What do I do? So I just love the presence of God.
Right.
I just literally love the presence of God. Honestly, with me, I'm listening to worship music all the time, literally all the time. So for me, if if I do listen to anything rap or R&B, it's literally, I got about one song in me, and then it's just like I got to revert back to that. I cannot tell you, that I'm at the feet of Jesus 24/7 all day. I can't tell you that. But I believe that that's where we tap into worshiping Him in spirit and in truth. Because the truth is, I'm dealing with situations on a daily basis. But the truth is also that He's good. And so sometimes I think we just stand on the fact of, our reality, and we have issues and this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, I say this to people when I'm leading worship, that we should take our focus off of our problem and place it on the problem solver. And so I think a lot of times for me, it's just really getting to the point where I'm just like, God, I can't do this on my own. I can't be an artist, worship leader, whatever it is on my own. I can't even be just me on my own. And so, again, it's just yielding. It's a daily yield. This walk with God, I always compare it to a science project. You're working on a science project for school, and you think it's good. I need to change that. Or you think it's good. It's an every single day thing. And I think some people have gotten to a dangerous place where they feel like they've arrived. And I got to this place in God, and as long as I got there, I'm good. I can do whatever I want to do now.
Right.
But with me, things still convict me. Things still shake my spirit up. I can't go certain places. Things still grieve my spirit. And so if I could say anything, I would say I'm just glad He has taken His spirit from me.
Right.
Like I said, we all mess up, make mistakes, but we should be grateful that He hasn't taken His spirit away from us.
Right. I mean, one of the things you mentioned that I love, you went back to your church and how you serving your church. And I think nowadays a lot of people kind of toss that to the side. They kind of neglect having a church home or having a covering. My pastor puts it this way. He said, he relates it to a Sharpie. A Sharpie's only effective if it has a covering.
Yeah.
Once you take the covering off,
They dry out.
Dry out. What's the importance of having a church, a covering? As a worship leader who's traveling, you're all over the place. Every week you're on a flyer. Every other week you're at a church. So what's the importance of having a covering in a church home?
It's important to be pastored. I really don't. I mean, that's as deep as it gets for me. It matters where you go to church. It matters where you're fed, and it's important that you're pastored. The Bible says that He'll give you pastors after His own heart.
Right.
And for me, growing up, I felt like, and nothing against the church that I was a part of and all that. Mm-hmm. I'm grown now, so I don't. But growing up, I felt like it was me, my pastors, and God.
Right.
And I felt like, it was the three of us was in a relationship. And I think that if your pastors aren't leading you to God, then that's when the question mark goes up.
Right.
And so now I'm at a place where I'm the closest I feel like I've ever been to God. With my mistakes, with my mishaps, with my mess ups, I still feel like I'm the closest I've ever been to God. Because my pastors, when they see me, they don't see the artist Jay.
Right.
They invest and they pour into and they push and they encourage the artists and the worship ministry and the gift that God has given me. But at the end of the day, they see a soul.
Right.
And so for me, when I go to church on a Sunday and Wednesday, it's not so much, what I can do as it relates to being the worship leader there, but it's the excitement of getting off a stage and sitting down, getting that word.
Right.
And I think a lot of us, we use our platforms at church as gigs.
Wow.
And we don't go there to get fed.
Wow.
So that's why it's kind of crazy, because for me, I look at my home church as it definitely is a training ground, but a lot of the songs and melodies and stuff that you'll hear, number one, is either coming out of the word that I'm hearing,
right,
or number two, God gives me these songs and these anthems and these chants on stage at church a lot of times.
Right.
And then y'all will hear them when I get on the road. But, just being connected to somewhere, being connected to a resource that is connected to the source is very important. I really don't know how people can survive in the gospel industry and on the road and stuff like that and not be connected to a local assembly.
Not even connected, man. One of the things I fell in love with over the past couple of years is serving.
Yeah.
I remember when I first joined my church, Raymond Life Church, I stopped every engagement. For past 2 years, I just stopped. I didn't want to take any engagements, and I just served my church.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it to the point that doesn't faze me. And I think some people, as an artist, or you get a little buzz, or you get that little K behind your Instagram, you feel like you made it.
Yeah.
Or they don't even show up for rehearsals on sound check, but when it's their time to minister, man, I'm here. But I really love how you touch based on the importance of just receiving that word so you can get fed.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to ask you, man, I'm interested to know, man, who's your top 5 favorite gospel artists? Who's J. Todd listening to on a regular? Like, okay, if I had to be at a deserted island, who are the top 5 gospel artists that I would have to have all the records?
My God. 5 is an odd number. Let me see. Well, I listen to my worship team.
Okay.
On our YouTube at my church. Chandler Moore, All
Definitely.
Nations Worship Assembly, Atlanta, Maverick City Music, Benita Jones, Bethel Elevation Hillsong. I was trying to make that one because I think I had one more. But yeah, that's really who I'm listening to. And kind of to go a little further, because somebody asked me the other day, well, what do you listen to that kind of gets you to that place? Until this day, the number one song for me, like if I'm crazy stressed, if I had a really long day, or if I'm just dealing with a lot, I put on Alpha and Omega and I put my headphones in and I lock the room, turn the lights off, and I just go to a place.
Wow.
So till this day, Alpha and Omega is probably like my top favorite song to listen to.
So we know you got a single, Dwell, and we know you got plenty of more coming soon.
Well, praise God.
Yeah, we definitely know that.
I'm glad you prophesied.
So who would you love to collab with, man, with your upcoming projects and your singles and your albums and live recordings?
Who would I love to collab with? More than one or just one?
More than one.
Todd Delaney.
Most definitely.
Todd Galbraith, Benita Jones.
So he went right back to all the Todd Jones.
Yes, Todd Galbraith, Benita Jones. Everybody, Miranda Curtis, Tasha Cobbs, everybody, hit me up.
Man, I would love to hear you on a track with Dante Bowe.
Dante Bowe's amazing.
I would love to hear you on a track with Bree. You know Bree? You familiar with Bree?
Babinall.
I believe that's her last name.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
She has a project coming out or just released some music.
She just released something, man.
Yeah.
So let me flip the question. If you had an option to do a track with a secular artist, R&B, hip hop, who would it be?
Probably be Brandy.
What? Brandy's dope.
Brandy. Are you a Monica fan? Are you so in the Brandy Monica battle? Who are you picking?
I'm Brandy.
Okay, because
Hands
I'm about
down.
to flip this table over.
Hands down, Brandy, man.
If I had to do a secular artist, it would be Brandy, Justin Timberlake, Music Soul Child,
Okay.
Tank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tyrese.
Well, yeah. I mean, he black. I'm black. It's real dark. But yeah, that would be
Look,
good.
J. Todd said the black guys are coming back to gospel. All
Yeah,
right,
it'd be Black Rose the sequel. Like, it's really-
you're the best, man. So let me ask you this, man. This is another question I got for you.
Okay.
When it comes to your music, man. When it comes to music, like who's the one person you can say that inspires you the most? Like if I hear J. Todd, I can hear this person.
So so for me, I would say the men that I looked up to growing up in church. Y'all would probably never know them, hear them, or see them.
Right.
But there's a group of men that I literally sat and watched in rehearsals. I sat and watched them serve. I sat and watched them preach, pray, sing, create music. My former pastor from when I was my childhood pastor, I knew all of his music, every word, every riff, every melody, and I studied him. And so sometimes you'll probably, well, you won't hear it, you won't know it, but anybody that knows me or knows him or them would kind of hear that strong. And it was something that I kind of was trying to negate,
right.
But it is what it is. There were really good seeds sown, and people are just seeing the harvest at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me flip it for a little bit, man, because I know a lot of times we minister, we have a lot of funny or embarrassing moments. Can you recall either one of the funniest moments you experienced while ministering, or one of the most embarrassing moments?
Embarrassing moments. Well, the embarrassing moments are funny. So I would say that it would be, missing lyrics. So, at my church, we even have a confidence monitor. And so I think the fact that it's there makes me just only trust that and forget what's in my head. And if that screen goes blank, I'm literally like, if it's like he is jealous for me, I'm probably like, he down me. Like, it really gets kind of crazy. What's an embarrassing moment? I guess it wasn't embarrassing for me, but like, I probably shouldn't say this. Anyway, I was singing at some engagement. I was singing at some event, and actually, I wasn't singing. Somebody else was singing, and they'll remain nameless. It was like a mic toss, and they gave me the mic. That joint was it was trash. Like, this was years ago. I believe the coronavirus was on that microphone. I strongly believe the coronavirus was on that microphone. That was that was embarrassing because it was on my lip, and I had like a little bump on my lip.
Oh man,
that would be.
You got J. Todd catch yourself in the mic show.
Yeah, the coronavirus is not new. Don't let them fool you. Other than that, I don't think, like, I've never fallen on the stage. I've been pretty, almost fell, but that's as embarrassing as it gets me missing lyrics or forgetting lyrics.
Man, I remember one time I was leading worship. Now, prior to me, because I got to give you the backstory so you can understand what happened that day. So in my parents' church, I would lead worship and I would stand on chairs. Like, that was my thing. It get to a certain level, we jumping, we standing on chairs, and I went to this church, and I walked in, and I went to the left. So I didn't walk straight into the church.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, doing the same thing. I jumped on the table.
Jesus.
And like 4 people start running full speed. And I'm like, what's the issue? I jumped down from the table, and I look back, and it says, in the remembrance of.
You jumped on the communion table?
I jumped on a communion table, J. Todd.
Yeah, you ain't been back there, have you?
Never.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was it.
That
was it for me, man. And
is that you in that video that went viral? Is that
no, that wasn't me. That was not me. That wasn't on footage, man.
Okay.
I can't even believe
there's a video, dude, shouting on the. I thought that was okay.
That was not.
Okay.
That was not me, man. So, matter of fact, funny thing is, I led worship there the next day, and it was the most awkward. They brought me back. They called me, and man, it was bad. It was bad, man. Called me, and I was there. And
you got a little radical on you, huh?
Yeah, man. It was very awkward. I was like, lift up your hands. Everybody was like, nah, we cool, bro. So
you lost their trust.
I did. You live and you learn, man. So yeah, man. Now y'all know. Now y'all know. One of the things I love about you, man, is your social media. We was just talking about this. Man. This man's social media is on a beam. His posts are incredible. I don't know who he's using, but it's dope, man. How has social media impacted your career, your music, and putting content out?
It's a great tool, especially for independent artists. So at this point, it's literally like, for me, I've been leading worship and loving the presence of God since I was a kid. So what y'all see at this point is just the end result, not the end result, but a result of, private time with God when I was a kid.
All right.
But it's really helped me. Of course, you get to reach people internationally that you couldn't reach physically. So yeah, it's been a great help. I would say for independent artists that social media should be your radio.
Right.
If you're just starting out, if you are just releasing music for the first time, you want to treat social media like radio.
Right. So after people experience, what do you want people to take away from J. Todd Ministries? After people hear you lead worship, or they come to one of your concerts, or even download the new single, what do you want people to take away from that?
I literally want people to experience the presence of God. It's not really deep at all. I was just talking to someone the other day, and they were just talking about how you about to release the single and charts and this, that, and the third. And I said, honestly, I'm not playing the humble card by saying that's not my focus this year, but I really believe God wants me to make my deposit into the worship culture right now, and lay that foundation and grow and build on that. And so if anything else happens outside of that, I'll be grateful. But I really just want to grow and build on that. So I really want to write worship songs for worship ministries across the world. I'm trying to be like the baby Andre Crouch. Like, we were singing songs Andre Crouch didn't even know it was his. Like that's what I want. Wow. So just to experience the presence of God. And I want people to leave an event or at the end of a song that they hear. I want them to know God as Father. I feel like when I grew up, I knew God as the deliverer, the healer, the way maker, the provider, but I didn't know him as my Father. Yeah. And so because I didn't know him as my Father, I didn't know or have a true identity. So that's why a lot of times if you hear me, I'll go out, I'll always recognize him as Father, Abba, Creator. I remember for a long time before I was released any music or whatever, I was going around singing Abba. If anybody remembers, I was singing Abba, and that was all. I was almost going to record that song. Wow. I was almost going to record that song, but even that was even that was fear.
Wow. Okay.
So because I would never go out and let people hear any music of mine, so I would just sing Abba, and I was going to record that, and then I went to start asking other people to write songs for me, and it was like, yeah, people wrote songs, but it was like it just wasn't clicking. Then I wrote Dwell, and that was because I really wanted God to move whatever was in his way and whatever took his place.
Nobody sings Abba Father like J. Todd. I'm going to put that out there, man.
About all that.
Listen, I've heard a lot of people sing it, but when you sing that song, I'm sorry, nobody sings Abba Father like J. Todd. No musicians.
No singers.
Some
really good renditions. Really good.
'Cause you're
I heard really good versions.
You're one of my favorites, so I'm always going to brag about. Hey, when it comes to ABBA, there's only one person I prefer to hear from is J. Todd, man.
Hey, man. Well, I hope y'all find a video because I don't know if I'm recording that. So,
Hopefully, man. What's your biggest pet peeve when it comes to leading worship? Because sometimes as worship leaders, we're always on stage. So when you get to sit down and you get to listen to, or you get to actually be part of a worship experience, what's some of your biggest pet peeve?
As in like not leading?
Yes. Like, what's your biggest pet peeve?
Using scriptures out of context.
Okay.
Bullying us.
Break down bullying us.
Just like, and so sometimes bullying is not even just the words you use, but it's your action after you get off the stage. So you was on stage, lift your hands, God bigger than you. And then when the preaching goes on, you in the back or like texting or eating snacks and stuff. So it was just like, say that wasn't authentic. Got you. So bullying us, using scriptures out of context, overly singing. I would say that's it. Singing songs just because the timing is the same, but the songs don't even make no sense together.
The lyrics don't make no sense at all.
Just does. That's all I can say. Just singing songs just because the timing is right, but it doesn't click. Like it don't even make no sense.
It makes no sense.
So it's like Abba, I belong to you.
Y'all see what I'm talking about?
There's a storm on the ocean. Like what? But anyway.
I know you talked about fear kind of holding you back from doing a couple things. Like Abba, you said you was going to record, but fear kind of stopped you. Even Dwell was kind of like, I don't know. How have you been able to overcome that?
Oh, man. Just trusting and believing in God. To tell you my testimony about the whole fear situation. So I was going to do Dwell, the gathering. I was doing the concert.
Right.
I went into it with no money. And God's favor was all over that situation. I went to a particular church and I was going to have the service there. Church was smaller and I literally was going to have to create. I was going to have to transform that room. And I really was doing that. I was going to have it at my home church, but I was like, my home church is too big.
Right.
It's too much. I'm just, let me, first was just a little worship gathering, a little worship night. And then that didn't work out. And so had it at my church. And, I'm thinking, okay, so I'm going to just section off this part of the church because, it's just too much. I don't think everybody can come out. And I think it was like 300 some people there. And it just literally superseded my expectation. I'll never forget that my pastor, he was just like, so what did you learn out of this whole process? And I was just like, just trust God. He's like, yeah, but what happened to you in this process? And he was just like, and I was like, I overcame fear.
Right.
Like, I literally overcame fear. So I had to overcome fear and really trust in what God said. My pastor prophesied over the entire church. I refer my pastor a lot, but that's what happens when you have a good pastor. So my pastor prophesied, and he said that God is going to do in 1 year what it would take you 10 years to do.
Wow.
And I wrote Dwell last March or April, and now I'm releasing it this March. And I've really been kind of trying to release music for the last 10 years.
Wow.
So it was just believing his word and moving forward. There are some days where fear still peeps up. But the more I go and the further I go, I get a little stronger in that area. So.
That's dope, man. So my next question for you, man, because a lot of people see the flyers, they see you leading worship, and sometimes they think worship leaders, we just chilling. Like, because we on flyers, we all traveling all over the world, and everything seems to be going well. But some fail to realize we got seasons, man, where we go through. Yeah. We go through seasons, we kind of question God, like, what's going on? Can you remember a moment when you had a rough season, but yet you were still kind of pushing, man? How did you get through that?
I would say that season is here right now, to be honest.
Wow.
I am about to release a song next week, but just before I got here, I was staring at my cousin in a coffin.
Wow.
Viewed him today, and I literally, looked at him and I just started questioning God. I'm like, God, usually I don't, people say it's okay to question God and I'm cool. I don't usually do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just staring at him and I was like, God, I really don't understand.
Wow.
I was like, I don't understand. I was like, I really don't have anything to say because I just don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And my pastor, again, he said that when something dies or ends, something dies or ends, you'll know what your trust or who you really trusted in.
Right.
So if someone dies and you just, you're can't control it, you don't know how you're going to go on, this, that, and the third. It kind of shines light on where your trust really was. And so there are days where I'm good, and then there are days where it kind of hits me. But my trust in him continues to grow. And so that's what guides me through the seasons like now. If this was before, I would have viewed my cousin's body today and hit you up like, bro, I can't do it.
Right.
And I started to even feel bad for doing other things while this is going on, but it was just like, yo, God is still God in the middle of all of this, and I just have to continue to trust in him.
Right.
So that's how I
Right.
get through the season.
Definitely, man. Because sometimes those seasons, man, your trust is put on display. Yeah. Definitely, your trust is put on display. Your understanding of who God is.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we think we should understand everything, but in reality, we don't.
And then you got
we
people,
shouldn't.
Then you got people looking to you.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm in a family where everybody isn't saved.
Right.
And they're kind of, and he wasn't a believer. I don't know what happened in his last moments, but from what I remember, he wasn't not a believer. And so, they'll even kind of look to me. How do I handle it?
Right.
And so I don't want to fake the funk. But that's why I literally was just staring at him. I was like, I don't understand.
Wow.
I don't understand. I'm not going to assume or blame or anything but I want to give you my truth. And my truth is, God, I don't understand. So.
Wow. Who do you relate to most in the Bible? When you read about the Abrahams, you read about David, you read about Joseph, you read about Enoch, you read about Noah and Paul and Timothy. Who is it that J. Todd really relates to?
I think I can relate to several. But when I think about David and how crazy of a worshiper he was, but he was still crazy.
Right.
He was a crazy worshiper, but he was crazy. All of his issues, all of his downfalls, but he still kind of kept pushing and pursued the presence of God. And then when I think about Joseph, of how people close to him, it would look like they were pushing you forward, but they were actually pulling you back. And the most amazing thing about his journey is his response to, some people would just, stay on the part of what was done to him. And I go through that. I can relate to that. People throw me in the pit and all this other kind of stuff and throw me away and turn against me, my brothers, family members, all that. But it was his response.
Wow.
And I really believe that God is allowing certain things to see what our response is going to be.
All right.
So a lot of us, we can react to something, but there's a difference between reacting and responding. And I think God is monitoring us. He's looking. He wants to see what our response is going to be.
That's awesome, man. That's my last question for you, man. If you had somebody who came up to you and said, J. Todd, you inspired me. I've been watching you from afar. You're like a mentor to me. What advice would you give me for someone who's starting off? Like, I'm a worship leader. I want to release songs. What advice would you give to a young person with that question?
I would say serve. Never get tired of serving. And I would also say to not negate the lessons of the journey, trying to get to a destination.
Wow.
Like a lot of us, we try to, we just want to get there. We just want to get there. We just want to get there. We see it.
Right.
But what we don't see is the lessons on that journey that will help us maintain and stay where we need to get to. So that's why I'm enjoying this journey. That's why, I'm not releasing a song and showing up at the Stellars this year and, just being an artist, God has given me something to give the world, and that's about it right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm pacing myself and I'm enjoying the journey.
So the big question I know a lot of people got is, are you working on some more music, and when can we expect some more?
So I am working on some more music as we speak. But again, I'm pacing myself. What I'm realizing is that everyone's journey is not the same.
Right.
So an album doesn't necessarily have to come right after this. It could be another single. I don't know. But there's this, me releasing this song has opened the door to, okay, I can do this. I can release music. So there will be some other stuff coming up. So the only thing I can say is the Dwell single will be released March 20th, and there's also a music video to follow that.
Man, we can't wait for that. I absolutely love the single.
Thank you.
Can't wait to hear it. Can't wait for the world to experience it. Tell the people where they can follow you, book you, get merchandise.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at JToddMusic. You can book me via my website, www.jtoddmusic.net. And what else did you say?
Where do you buy merchandise? I mean, that's
merchandise, all jtoddmusic.net.
He got a dope hoodie that says Dwell.
Yeah, so this is
I
one
love
of my
it.
hoodies from the single, and it's under my Jesus Boy apparel line. So,
hey, man, J-Todd, thank you so much for coming out.
thank you for having me, man.
I'm excited to see what God's getting ready to do in your ministry and your life, man. This is not the last time, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, thank you for tuning in to I Love Jesus Music TV. I'll see you soon, all right? Y'all take care.